Hey up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 19 of the 2025 NRL season. Last week I almost got a perfect round, thanks to Sydney Roosters. I didn't get that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't tip West Tigers to win that game, but anyway, let's see what happens in round 19. This will be after the State of Origin series is concluded. The first match is on Friday. It's between Cronulla Sutherland and Redcliffe. This one's being played at Shark Park. Cronulla are in 10th on the table, Redcliffe 7th on the table. These two sides have met twice before and Redcliffe have won both of those. Cronulla come into this game in a bit of a hole at the moment. Their form hasn't been great, they haven't been playing particularly well, and I think they've been shown once again to be pretenders. A lot of people before the season began had Cronulla as one of the favourites to win the premiership, but I think it's going to be another season where they're just not going to hit the mark. And for Redcliffe, they've been travelling fairly nicely. They've been racking up some big scores in the last couple of weeks. They've been playing quite well. I think that they can get the victory over Cronulla on Friday night, so I'm going to go for Redcliffe to win this game by 1 to 12 points. First match on Super Saturday is between Newcastle and Melbourne. This one's being played at Marathon Stadium. Newcastle 13th on the table at the moment and Melbourne in second. Melbourne have won 8 of their last 10 matches they've played against Newcastle. However, the last 2 times that they've travelled to Newcastle, Newcastle's won. Melbourne coming into this match having won 5 matches in a row in the league. And with Newcastle, they've got a couple of players out, most notably Kalen Ponga. They've got a few injury concerns. I'm pretty sure that most of the players will back up from State of Origin, but for this game I'm going to go for a Melbourne victory. I'm going to go for Melbourne to win this match by 13 plus on Super Saturday. The second match on Super Saturday is between St George and Sydney Roosters. This one's being played at Cogra Oval. St George 11th on the table and Sydney Roosters 9th on the table. Sydney Roosters have won 7 of the last 10 matches against St George in the league, but like in the previous match, their last 2 trips to Cogra Oval have ended in defeat. Both of these sides come into the fixture with a loss. I saw the highlights of the Eastern Suburbs and West Tigers game, and that first half from East were awful, diabolical. And with St George, they did really well to come into that match against Canberra. They were behind, they did well to stay in it, but they just fell short. This is a bit of a tricky one to call, but I think Eastern Suburbs will have a lot of their State of Origin players back on deck for this game. So I'm going to go for East to win this match by 1 to 12 points on Super Saturday. And the final match on Super Saturday is between North Queensland and Canterbury Bankstown. This one's being played at the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. North Queensland 12th on the table, Canterbury Bankstown 3rd on the table. The head-to-head between the two sides in the last 10 games has been fairly even. Canterbury's won 4 matches, North Queensland's won 6. Canterbury's record in Townsville is alright. I've looked through the history of their recent trips up there and they've recorded a couple of losses, recorded a couple of wins. Last week they were in front against Brisbane and then they just threw the game away. Very disappointing from them. And with North Queensland, they had a gallant defeat against Melbourne. With Canterbury Bankstown, the old saying is if it's not broke, don't fix it, and they were travelling just fine and then they go off and they sign Lachlan Galvin, and ever since he's coming in to the side, a lot of people have been commenting online saying the Galvin effect and all that type of stuff, because ever since he's joined they haven't really been the same sort of team. And now Toby Sexton's gone to Catalan for next season, which is baffling. I thought, maybe one of the other NRL clubs would have picked him up, but he's gone there. I just don't really know what's going to happen for the rest of the season with Canterbury, whether this is going to fix itself over time or if it's going to be a constant issue for them with the Galvin thing. But I just think it's crazy, that you've got a team that were top of the table and then you're trying to break that formula, that winning formula that the club had. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Also, this will be Reid Marnie's first match against his future employers up there in Townsville. Who's going to win this game? Oh, look, I know that most of the State of Origin players will be back for this game, I'm going to take a bit of a risk actually. I'm going to go for North Queensland to win this match by 1 to 12 points. It's up there in Townsville. It's a tough place to go at the best of times with the weather and all that caper. But yeah, something's just not right at Canterbury at the moment, so I'll go for North Queensland to win by 1 to 12 points. And the first match on the Sunday is between New Zealand and West Tigers. This one's being played at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. New Zealand 4th on the table, West Tigers 14th. New Zealand have won 8 of their last 10 matches against West Tigers in the league. Last time that West Tigers actually won a match at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, we were in round 25 of the 2016 NRL season, and before that I had to go all the way back to round 14 of the 2011 season and the last time that they won a match at Mount Smart Stadium. West Tigers broke a 6-game losing streak last week against Eastern Suburbs. However, I watched that highlights package on the NRL, and that first half from Eastern Suburbs were terrible. They gifted West Tigers 2 tries, and then West Tigers also got a couple of dodgy penalties as well, which led to penalty goals. So even though they won, I don't know, if Eastern Suburbs played the full 80 minutes, I don't think that they come away with the victory. But anyway, they did win. With New Zealand, they come in this game off the bye, so they'll be fresh for this game. Obviously, Luke Metcalf's out for the season, which is a hammer blow for New Zealand. But who do I think is going to win this match? I think based off the previous form and the history, these two sides going against each other, I'm going to go for New Zealand to win this game. But I think it'll be a close one, so I'll go for New Zealand to win by 1 to 12 points. And the second match on Sunday is between Parramatta and Penrith. This one's being played at Western Sydney Stadium. Parramatta 15th on the table, Penrith 6th on the table. Penrith come into this match having won the last 4 matches in a row in the league, and Parramatta come into this game off the bye. These two sides have met 118 times in total. Parramatta has recorded 66 wins, Penrith have recorded 52 wins, and there's been 1 draw. If he's named to play on Sunday, Junior Paulo will reach a big milestone at the Parramatta club. He'll play his 200th first grade game for the club, and he'll be only the 14th player in Parramatta history to reach that milestone. And considering the club's been around since 1947 and there's been 863 players that have played for the club, it's a huge achievement. I know that he's had a few detractors over the years, and some people have said that, you know, he's a bit old, or he's a bit slow, or he's this or he's that. He's been a good servant for the Parramatta club. He's had some big games for the team as well, so well done to Junior Paulo. These two sides met earlier in the year where Penrith won pretty narrowly, and I remember a lot of people commented in that game that it just come down to Nathan Cleary pretty much icing the big moments, and Mitchell Moses didn't really capitalise on some certain things in that game, so that's what it really sort of boiled down to. Who do I think is going to win this game? I think Penrith have hit a really good purple patch of form. A lot of people wrote them off at the start of the year when they had a bad start, but I wasn't one of those. I knew that they'd bounce back and that they'd put a few wins together, and I think that they will do so in this game. I think that they'll win this match. I'll go for Penrith to win this game by 1 to 12 points. And the final match to close out round 19 is between the Gold Coast and Brisbane. This one's being played at Seabus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. Gold Coast dead last on the table in 17th, Brisbane in 5th. Gold Coast coming to this game having beaten the bye. They struggled to beat the bye, but they got the 2 points in the end. Brisbane, they've won their last 4 matches in a row in the league, and that includes their recent victory last week against Canterbury Bankstown, where they staged that really good comeback. It looked at one stage down and out, and then they come back, stormed home, won the game there at Stadium Australia. These two sides met not so long ago in round 14, where Brisbane defeated the Gold Coast 44 points to 14. And as I mentioned in that video a few weeks ago, that games between these two clubs are very high scoring. There's lots of games where there's 30-40 points being scored. And with the Gold Coast, you know that points are going to be scored because they just can't defend. There's been 11 times this year I've counted where Gold Coast have conceded 24 points or more in a match. And that's why they are where they are on the table, because they cannot defend. I know that the Gold Coast will probably fancy their chances in this game because it is a bit of a derby, and I know Clarkie's Rugby League column will say little brother against big brother, and I remember a couple of years ago he were crowing because Gold Coast had won 3 matches in a row against Brisbane, and he was saying, oh, you know, we're big brother now and Brisbane's little brother, and I'm thinking, how are you, man, that's just daft. When the Gold Coast can win 6 premierships, have the highest attendances in the league and the biggest membership numbers, and overtake Brisbane, then maybe I'll consider calling them big brother, but no, Gold Coast will always be little brother. But who do I think is going to win this game? I'm going to go for Brisbane to win in a high-scoring affair. I wouldn't be surprised if it finishes 36 points to 20 or something like that, or 34-24, but I'm going to go for Brisbane to win this one, and I'm going to go for them to win by 1-12. So that concludes my tipping video for round 19 of the 2025 NRL season. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping and the score margins and all that. Thanks to everyone that watched my video last week. I nearly got 3,000 views last week for my tipping video. So thanks very much for tuning in and watching the videos and supporting the channel. Anyways, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch us all later in the next one. Tatty bye for now.